Yes, guys, hope that you're good. It's Ben Hawksworth at the Coach Consultant, and today I'm actually in Dubai. So as you can see, I've got myself a little Mac studio. I've got the balcony in the background, but as you can basically see on the screen, what I've got here today is going to be a 10-step sales call structure. So this is going to be an easy, straightforward example on how you need to be running the overall framework to the process that you're actually going to be running on a sales call. And this is incredibly important. One thing that I say to fitness professionals all the time is it's absolutely pointless focusing on any form of acquisition and lead generation and appointment bookings if you have not got confidence with your actual sales call and your close, because what you are going to do is you're going to put a lot of time and energy into this process, and it's just going to burn a lot of time, burn a lot of energy, and burn a lot of resources for you not actually getting the raw rewards that you want off the back of this. And what I want you to imagine when we're coming into this structure in a minute is I want you to change your perspective on what a sales call is. If you go into a sales call with the mindset of thinking, I have to close this because I have to have things that I need to pay for and I'm worried about money, then you've lost straight away. I want you to go into your sales calls where all you're thinking about basically is, how can I diagnose this person's problem? How can I get to know this person on a deeper level? How can I genuinely help this person, right? When you go in with that type of mindset, you're going to be more calm, you're going to be more controlled, and that's the type of stuff that we need for a sales call. So what you'll commonly see is people think that you need to be like Wolf of Wall Street, where you're bouncing around off the walls and you're aggressive and you're stood up and you're screaming and shouting and putting pressure in. That is the fucking worst way that you could ever run a sales call, because the chances of someone putting their back up and thinking, I'm not listening to this, is going to be pretty high. We want to stay calm, we want to stay in control, and we want to stay collected, and we want to control the energy and control the narrative of the call. And that is basically what we are going to be doing today, guys. So as you can kind of see, I put a bit of a background in there where you've got almost like someone who's a bit of a robot and then someone who's a human shaking the hand. So I need you to be like the robot. You're in control, you're structured, you've got clear guidance, you know exactly what you're doing from start to end, right? If you are in control like that and you make sure you hit all the points that we're speaking about in today's video, the likelihood of you closing more sales is going to be much greater, which is obviously what we want. Stage one, which is going to be relationship building. This is an area that people really overlook, and they think that it's not as important as everything else on the call. This is the single most important element that you need to make sure that you get right at the start of the call, because if you start the call on bad energy, low energy, too high energy, too intense energy, or you don't really make it personal, then what that's going to do straight away is that's going to get someone's back up, and they're going to think, well, all you're trying to do is get me straight into a close. You don't actually want to know about me as a person. I don't really trust you. I don't feel connected to this, and I'm not going to give you my money, right? So when we're coming into the relationship element, what I highly recommend is that you've got a lot of information that you're collecting prior to the call. So whether you're using something like Typeform or a CRM form or Calendly, qualifying questions and structures, you've got a lot of information based on where they are right now, what the goals are. So you've got an understanding for what's going to be covered on the call prior. But another thing that I always recommend to people is that you actually do your homework on this person coming to the call. So for example, if they're on Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, have a look on the social profiles. See if there's something that you can relate to. See if there's something that you can bring up. Because if you bring up that you've obviously had a quick look over all the socials, what that does, it shows someone that you've actually made that tiny little bit of effort to find out a little bit more about them. And if you can come across with something which is really relatable and real and recent, then again, it just adds in that little bit of a trust component. So what we're looking for at this point in the call is to just generate as much trust and build a great relationship at the same time. When we're coming into stage two, what we're going to basically do here is we're going to, in essence, we're going to set clear expectations. So when someone does not have expectations or understanding, they are going to be quite irate. They are not going to be that receptive to your message, and they're not going to really understand what's going on. So that is most of the time when you are looking at a one-to-one service delivery. If they're not clear expectations on both sides, that's where basically problems start coming around. After we've gone through the relationship building, what I want you to do is basically make it really clear what the actual agenda is going to be for the call. So for example, we call our sales call discovery calls, and the rationale for that is because it is a discovery call. I need to find out as much about you need to find out as much about me in order to make sure the relationship's perfect, it's going to work, and we're going to guarantee the result. What we basically suggest is that you actually lay out the foundations and tell them at the start of the call what's going to happen from this point, and most importantly, ask their permission to move on to the next stage. That is really important, because if you don't ask someone's permission to move on to the next stage, they do not feel like they're in control, and again, they're going to have a little bit of resentment where they just feel like they've been pushed into a sale. So what I'd recommend at this point is you basically explain, so what I'm going to do here is I'm going to ask you a bunch of questions around your business, around you as a person, around your goals, around your vision, and we're going to basically discuss where the kind of problems are and see if we can overcome them together and see if our program's the right fit. After that, what we'll do is I'll actually basically do a step-by-step process of how we work with with clients and how we guarantee results. And then we'll obviously talk about prices at the end. Is that okay with you, right? All we're basically doing there is we're looking to get as much expectation management in place, as much clarity, and making sure that both sides know exactly what's going to be happening from this point. We're then coming into stage 3, which is basically an assessment of their current situation. So in this exact moment right now, when you are sat on the other end of the phone to me, why are you on this call? Can you basically paint the picture? Look, I'm not too bothered about what happened 5 years ago yet. I'm not bothered about where your goals are. I just really want to understand, like, where are you right now, mentally, physically, financially, with your confidence, with your problems? Like, please just tell me, like, look, what's brought you to this call? I want to know who you are and what's happening with you right now. So what that basically does is it instigates that someone really cares about what the current situation is and the current problems, rather than just diving in and going, right, what are your goals? Yeah, I can definitely get you there. What it does, it creates that trust component where people are thinking, oh, well, they actually really are interested about me as a person here. They're interested in why I'm actually sat on this call right now. But the most important element that you're going to be looking at here is the fact that what you can do is you've got their current situation here and then their desired situation there. And what we need to do on this sales call, which I'll do on a separate training in terms of sales principles, is we need to create a massive space between their current situation and their desired situation. The further that space is in between where they are right now and where they want to go, the likelihood of them signing up to your program is going to be much greater. If they feel like their current situation is very close to their desired situation, then the likelihood of you signing that person up is going to be very low. So we really need to make sure that we are painting the picture in terms of building out the full overview of what's happening. Don't just dive into the goals, because then you've not got that separation component, which is an absolute core when it comes to closing. From that point, we've basically assessed their current situation, right? All we are basically doing here is we are indirectly creating discomfort. So this is different to directly, right? I'm not a massive fan of directly highlighting and pointing out someone's own pain points, right? So for example, if you're going through a little bit of shit and you don't feel really good, and let's just say like things aren't really gone your way for a while, when someone points out to you going, oh, are you all right? What's the matter? Are you struggling with that? When you point out that, it gets someone's back up straight away. So when I say indirectly, what I mean by this is based on what they've explained about their current situation, all I want you to have in your head is that you will, like, mentally or even write down, you're going to ask 3 more questions around what they highlighted as their number 1 pain point, right? Whatever they are clearly saying is their number 1 issue on their current situation, what we are going to do from that point is we're going to ask 3 more questions around it. We're not going to make a comment on it. We're not going to basically give them a solution. We are not going to highlight it for them. We are going to indirectly create discomfort by asking them further questions around that, so they get to a point where they are creating their own pain. And what we basically want is we want people sat in a pool of their own pain, right? If someone's sat in a pool of their own pain, then they're going to feel like they need support and help a hell of a lot more, right? Further questions around what is the number 1 thing that they're struggling with in that current situation. And then from that point, so if I went on to down here, for example, I've got my current situation and all their pain and what we've just diagnosed and what we've discussed, and we've got their desired situation, which is over on the right hand side. We don't know what their desired situation is until we really clearly define their goals. So what we need to do with this is make sure that people understand what they are actually working towards. So for example, if a lot of the time someone might jump onto a call but they need help, but they're not sure on what they need help in. They've got goals but they don't actually know what the goals are, right? So, or their goals might be really open-ended. So what we're basically going to do at this point is we're going to ask them as many questions around what their actual goals are. When they've highlighted their goals, we're going to ask them further questions around that to really understand and articulate it and rephrase it back to them, so they understand massively that your goal is exactly this. Based on what you're saying to me right now and all the information that I've just asked you, right, I know that your goal's over here, so that's exactly where we need to be, right? The problem is, obviously, we've just explained that this is your current situation, and that's absolutely fine because we're going to come to that in a second. But are you aware, right? Are you 100% that's your goal and that's your current situation? Yep, 100%, right? So we're just defining that gap. We're defining that gap as much as fucking humanly possible, because the bigger that gap is, the harder it is to cross, the more likelihood they're going to turn around and go, I cannot get past this situation without you. Coming into stage 6, what we're going to basically do there is, in essence, we're going to start working them into defeat. So when I say working them into defeat, this is about highlighting that gap as much as possible, right? So what we're going to do here is we're going to be like, oh, so your current situation's here, you're where you want to be and your goals are over there. So you basically at this point start highlighting, right, so you're currently missing that in order to get your goal. Do you agree? Yeah, that's basically what you are wanting. We want someone to agree that they cannot fucking get to their goal based on their current situation and how they are feeling, right? So that's basically what we're trying to do with working them into defeat. We do not want to be basically giving them their current situation and their goals and then giving them loads of answers and solutions, because that will not work them into defeat, because in their head they'll think, oh, well, tell you what, I can actually just go and do this myself. We don't want to do that, right? So we're going to highlight all the things that they are clearly missing inside of their business to get them from where they are right now to where they want to go. But we are not going to give them a direct answer or a solution, right? Really, really important to understand that, because the moment that you start giving solutions, that gap is smaller. What we want to do is we want to stack all of the things that they're missing in that gap. So they're so far away from where they want to go, the only option is going to be to sign up to your program, right? Moving into stage 7, what we need to do from that point is really start to get an emotional connection. And what we're going to do is we're going to bring the energy up at this point in the call. And we're going to basically start talking about a future pacing structure of, so if you did achieve that, how would you feel? So based on what you've just said to me right now, and obviously that goal, and we know that we're quite far away from it, and I know that your current situation is this right now, but can you just let me know, like, how would that change your life if you actually achieve that goal? What would happen to your business, to your future, to your family, to yourself? Like, what is it? What's the greater purpose of what you're actually working towards? And I absolutely love that question, because for me as a business consultant, that's the one defining thing what people really need to work towards. So I know a lot of people work really hard, but they don't actually have anything that they're really working towards where they've got an emotional connection to it other than just money, for example. And when people have a greater meaning and purpose, that's where money becomes easy and work rate becomes easy. So what we're trying to do here is we're trying to build as much of a big picture as humanly possible about why is it that goal is so important to you, because that is something that we can obviously come back to and refer to at the back end of the call. So at this basically point in the call, what we're going to basically do is we're going to really heavily focus on the confidence statement associated with moving on to the actual pitch. So we found out their emotional connection and their emotional bias to their goal, right? At that point, we need to make sure that they know and you know that you can solve that problem. So this is as simple as going, right, the good news, right, is the fact that everything that you've said about your current situation to your goal, to how that's going to feel and what that's going to mean to you, I can definitely 100% help you with that. It's that ease. So if someone's really like, oh my God, I want that, but I'm so far away from it and I'm in a lot of pain and I don't really know where to go from here, for example. And that is basically that point where we're going to turn around and go, don't worry about it, because we've done this time and time again. Don't worry about it, because this is what I do. I've got your back, right? And that's what someone needs at that point. Someone needs that confidence installment to be like, oh, right, depressurize, right, and now can move on to the next phase. And then all you do from that point is the same as the start of the call. So is it okay with you if I actually basically present to you what we actually do within our program right now? So once they say yes, that they've got confidence, they're in control, and all we basically do from that point is we will present an expert statement and your basically unique methodology. So this in essence is going to be like a long form statement associated with exactly how you are going to help them within your offer, within your company, and within your program. This is not about listing out the features and the structures and all of that type of stuff. This is about us turning around and saying, like, look, this is exactly how we help you and exactly how we've helped other people, and our method is this, and it's a proven structure, right? Then we're going to be looking at the actual process. So people will now know the fact that they are confident that you can solve that problem. They know that you are basically in a position where you've done this before, you've got a unique method, you've got a clear expert confidence statement behind your actual offer. They still just need to know a bit more information. So this is where we need to be looking at basically presenting like a little bit of a phased planning structure. So for example, like when someone says to you, oh, well, why is this a 6 to 12 month program? If you turn around and say that's how long it takes to get results, like that's not going to benefit anyone in any way, shape or form. What we need to do is we're going to need to be saying, so in the first phase, it's going to last X amount of weeks, and in that first phase it's going to cover X, Y, and Z, and these are the results that you're going to get. In the second phase, it's going to last this amount of weeks, and in that point, this is the results that you can get, and this is what you can expect. And then same again for phase 3, 4, 5, 6, and however long your program duration is, which you need to be looking at basically selling at least 6-12 months up front, which again, people frown upon, but as long as you are covering your monthly recurring revenue, the best thing that you can do for them and for yourself is to get an actual program secured in place. And then finally from that point, guys, what we're going to be looking at is the actual objections element, and this is an area where a lot of people do overcomplicate it, in my opinion. All you are basically doing with an objection is diagnosing that problem further. right? So you need to change your perspective on this, where, oh, someone's just been a pain in the arse and this is so hard work going back and forth. Look at it from a perspective of, well, actually, I'm going to find out a lot more about this person and what makes them tick on a deeper meaning. I'm going to find out about their problems even more, so I know that I can help them even more, right? When you go into that mindset and you start diagnosing, asking more questions and providing solutions to their roadblocks, for example, then that is where someone's going to have a lot more confidence in you, right? If the only thing that you're coming back with at that point is saying, oh, well, what's the cost to you of not doing this, which is a standard one, people are going to be like, well, I've fucking seen that and heard that 1,000 times. When someone comes to you with an objection, right, all we are basically doing is we're going to ask further questions around that. If it's price, right, so when you're looking at a price objection, look at it in two ways. Is it a liable and real price problem, or is it a price to value association? So when we're basically looking at that, is going like, look, is it the price or is it the value? Is it the fact that it is too expensive, or is it the fact that you just need to know a little bit more about what we're doing, how we can help you? And when you start asking more about that, you can be like, well, I've got some client results I can show you. I can jump into the platform and actually show you everything if I want. You've got so much ammo to always present more value. And then when it comes to price, it might just be the case of the fact that people can't afford the 12-month in full. Sweet, we'll go down to 6 months. Oh, sweet, can't do that. Right, 3 months. You've always got these leverage points, but that's why you start at the top, because every time you come down a little bit cheaper, people, even though it's still the same price to you per month or for a free 6, 12-month payment in full, for example, it gives people that confidence perspective to be like, oh, well, that's actually getting a little bit cheaper and that's going to be a lot more manageable and obviously easy for me, guys. So when you're looking at your sales call structure, I really hope this video was helpful. There's definitely other videos that I want to be doing on sales in terms of what type of questions to be asking within these stages, but just as a general overview in terms of running a one-to-one sales call or discovery call, whatever it is, with the intention to close, that is a 10-step structure, guys. So if you like this video, please like it. If you are not subscribing, please subscribe, and I'll look forward to seeing you on the next video.